Greetings, Shalom. Today's video is about integrating that natural impulse to do, to create, to get things done with that spiritual quality of simply being with the moment as it is, that inner quality that can be confused with passivity, but is actually the portal to inner freedom based on this week's Parshat Toldot and the letter Yud. But first, if you would do me the favor of clicking the like and subscribing to the channel, that helps me out a lot in building this YouTube channel. Okay, on with the teaching. Okay, so this week's Parsha begins with Isaac praying for a child after Rebekah had been unable to conceive, and immediately his prayer is answered, but she experiences a difficult pregnancy as the children struggle inside her. She prays that the cause of her suffering be revealed, and Hashem responds that 2 nations are in your womb. And here is our verse that we're going to look at today. Vayitrotzitzu habanim bekirba. The children struggled inside her. Vatomer, and so she said, Im kain lama ze anochi. If so, why am I like this? Vatelech lidrosh et Hashem. So she went to inquire of the divine. There's a story of Rabbi Moshe that one of his Hasidim was very poor, and this Hasid complained to his Rebbe that his wretched circumstances were an obstacle for him to being able to really learn and pray properly. And so Reb Moshe responded, the greatest devotion, greater than learning and praying in this age, is accepting the world exactly as it happens to be. So this practice of accepting the moment, we could say accepting the world as it is, but we could also say more specifically accepting our experience in this moment exactly as it is a counterpoint to the experience of Rebekah, who was experiencing inner struggle. That description of 2 nations warring inside her is really a metaphor for the kind of suffering that we can experience struggling against our own experience, struggling against ourselves. So she says, Lama ze anochi, why am I like this? Sometimes it can feel like there's a war going on inside us. The mind feels stuck and the emotions are seething. And in the midst of intense psychological suffering, it's natural to question why we should have to feel thus, to question why our circumstances are such, and to complain bitterly against reality. Ordinarily, such questioning is an expression of resistance and only creates more suffering, as it was with Reb Moshe's disciple in the story. He says, can't you get me out of this? I can't be spiritual because there are too many obstacles in my life. But what is his response? He says that's exactly the spiritual practice, is to accept what your experience is. But there's another way to look at it. If we go deeper with our questioning into the nature of our mind, into the nature of our resistance, then we can find the path that leads to freedom. Vatelech lidrosh et Hashem. So she went to inquire of the divine. What does this mean? How do we inquire of the divine? The divine is nothing but reality. So we have to look at what is really going on. Notice that there is this urge within to control, to bend the world to my will. Vayehi Esav ish yodea tzayid ish sadeh. Esau became a man who knows hunting, a man of the field. So this is the first of the twins that are struggling in her womb. And this impulse that we're talking about to control our experience is represented by this firstborn twin, Esau, the hunter. It is the desire to hunt down what we want and take it from the field. V'Yaakov ish tam, Yoshev ohalim. But Jacob became a simple man, dwelling in tents. Jacob is described as an ish tam. Tam means both simplicity, but it also means taste. So to be tam means not to seek control over things, but rather to taste the moment as it is. Esau represents the impulse to seek externally, running out into the field to hunt and possess. Jacob, on the other hand, represents that impulse to dwell in the tent of the heart, to savor the simple joy of being. The external controlling impulse tends to dominate the human experience on all levels, as we know. So how can the spiritual impulse stand a chance? This is the question I ask. Is anyone really going to come to these meditation sessions? How can it compete? But it says, Vayavo Esav min hasadeh v'hu ayef. Esau came in from the field exhausted. Fortunately, all that outward seeking leaves Esau drained, and eventually he gives up his outward seeking and returns to find the inner nourishment. Hal iteni na min ha'adom. Pour into me, please, some of that red stuff. The word for red stuff is ha'adom, a slight variation on the word Adam, which means human being. In other words, this is the nourishment that every human needs. We cannot live merely by manipulating the world, because no matter how much we're able to make the world conform to what we think we want, manipulation only reinforces a sense of separateness, and this separateness blocks the true sustenance, the vital flow of life energy that we can feel and connect with now, the moment that now becomes our aim. That is, not what we want now, but the now itself. This is meditation. I hear different spiritual teachers, especially rabbis, talk about the now as a negative thing, because it's very common to talk about the negative quality of wanting something now, like demanding it right now, not having the ability to delay gratification. And so people will talk about, are they, is a person living for the now, or are they living for the future? And living for the future is seen as a good thing, because living for the now means demanding what you want right now. But that's not presence at all. In fact, that's still living for the future, because you want something now, but you don't have it now. So really you're going to get it in the future. It's just a very short-sighted future, as opposed to a long-sighted future, as opposed to planning and so on. So there's a lot of confusion about presence. Presence is not wanting something now. It's wanting the now. It's being in the now as it is. And that's also what meditation is. Vayomer Yaakov, Jacob said, Michra chayom, sell to me today, et bechoratcha li, your birthright to me. So for Esau to receive the nourishment that he lacks, he has to surrender his birthright, meaning to fully enter the tent of the present, chayom, we have to surrender our sense of entitlement, our sense that the world owes us something, that things should be a certain way. Of course, this doesn't mean that we shouldn't be effective in the world. That would be madness. Let's not take this to the extreme, to negation of the other side. In fact, Jacob is not complete until he gets outside his tent and learns to work in the field a little bit, right? If you know the rest of the story. Only then, after enduring the hardships of many years of outer work, is he able to make peace with his brother, representing the integration of the two qualities. The inner and the outer come into harmony because the inward quality of the tent and the outer quality of the field are not really separate anyway. And this is the path of Yud, the path of trusting how things are unfolding, keeping our awareness rooted in the senses and our minds on what we are doing in the moment. This is called in Psalm 15, Holech Tamim. Holech means to go or to walk, and Tamim is that adjective used to describe Jacob, that he was an Ish Tam. And so to be Holech Tamim means to be simply what you're doing in the moment. To have your mind on what you're doing, to be present as you do your work in time. And we can sing like this. Holech tamid, holech tamid, holech tamid, holech tamid. Shalom, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and click the like button. That helps me out a lot. And leave a comment if you have some thoughts. I'd love to hear from you. And also, if you would like to go deeper, you can meditate with us daily on Zoom. Just go to TorahofAwakening.com and you can try membership free for a month. You can also download a free guided meditation which teaches the basic practice that we do in the community. Until next time, all blessings.